So now we're going to have a panel with some previous hackathon winners. They'll be joining you on stage now. Konstantin, I'll let you moderate and introduce the panel.
Awesome, thank you. Would you mind putting up the slides if you can for the sharing so that it's not dependent on me?
I'll do that.
Awesome, thank you. And in the meantime, I'm more than happy to welcome two teams which are accompanying us on this session for ideation and project opportunities. So here will be two teams, which is Splice NFT and QSTN. We were announced that there will be Oren and Emily coming with us, but I see more people and I'm more than happy to generally give a stage to all of you. I will encourage you to inspire our participants of the hackathon with a short pitch on your project, give the details, how you came up with it, and then maybe have a short Q&A session on the most on the questions which will be raised by our participants. I'm also super curious to hear from you what brought you to the NFT space, or just generally what brought you to the Web3 space, and if you can answer a bit on why what was the most exciting thing you're looking for in the NFT space right now, and what may be one thing you would love to have but it's not yet there in the Web3. And the stage is yours. I will give a floor first to the team. Do we have slides available? Sorry.
I have slides if you want me to put them up.
I was looking for the slides from our side, but if you have something to share, definitely feel free to do so. And yeah, then maybe we can start with the team Splice and then with the team Quinn.
Hi, so my name is Emily Wheel, and a little bit about me. I have a background in startups. I did some work in finance, but mostly I've been a generative artist for some time. Before NFTs, I was building installations that responded to real-time motion for stores and hotels and brands like Chanel. Let's see, I worked at a startup in crypto in 2017 to give you some sense of how I got into Web3, and had been keeping my eye on the space. And then sometime last year noticed, oh my gosh, look at NFTs and what's going on in art. And that's a convergence of so many of my interests. I got to get in it. And so signed up for a hackathon to meet other builders. And that's where I met Stefan. So we are going to talk about a project today that is from the hackathon, and it's called Splice. So Splice lets you take an NFT that you already own and seed a new NFT. So in its current iteration, you go onto Splice, you look at your collection, you select an NFT, you select a style from a generative artist. We extract its metadata, apply the style, and the output is a unique banner that is an NFT that you can use on Twitter or on Discord. And now I will hand it to Stefan, who will give you a glimpse of the site.
Thank you very much, Emily. I think you already described very well how Splice looks like and what it's all about. While I'm sharing my screen, let me quickly introduce me. I'm Stefan from Berlin. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I visited more than 40 hackathons during the last 4 years, and on 2 of them I teamed up with Emily, and the last one was actually one that won us the finalist role on that ETH Online Hackathon, which was quite an amazing experience, and we actually took it away from there and built the Splice protocol. Let me very quickly show what this all looks like. We're very close to launching this one on mainnet. Everything's already deployed, but at the moment this is better testable on Rinkeby, which is an Ethereum testnet. So imagine you are an NFT collector and you have collected lots of NFTs. And for example, this very nice dead fella here. And as Emily just said, what we're doing here, we're loading the NFT image from IPFS or from the origin. In that fella's case, I think this is some kind of API server. And we're extracting the dominant colors of this NFT, which is very obviously orange in this case. And on the other hand, artists can create so-called style NFTs. They are created with generative code written in JavaScript, basically, which makes use of P5.js. And those NFTs, those style NFTs, are all, as I said, they're emitted as they contain code and some metadata. And once they are on their own contract, this front end reads those NFTs, those style NFTs, for example, this one, this Emily has created, and executes the code using the primary colors we have extracted with some randomness that has also been extracted by the origin NFT. This is a little bit more details, but never mind. So once you find a style that you like, you can mint this one on your machine. You can express towards the smart contract that you want to own an NFT with that style. So let's just do that here. What you cannot see is my MetaMask going up. That only asks me to confirm this one. It might take a while. While we're waiting on this one to be minted, let me show what's going on under the hood. We have a little list here that's showing all the styles available. And I just click Crossroads, if I remember right. It'll show you how many of those styles already has been minted at the cap of that whole thing. And what's quite unique to the Splice protocol is that the minting fees and the royalties that are potentially occurring when those pieces are sold on the secondary market, they are splitted among several participants. And one of those is the current style owner. And this is quite a nice concept because the current style owner doesn't necessarily have to be the artist who created that style. So you can sell the code you have written to others and profit from minting fees and royalties without having to be necessarily the original author. So if I click the download button, you cannot see that there's another window going up, which is just showing me the PNG representation of that one. But that's basically it. This is how Splice works. It lets you generate new NFTs out of NFTs you already own, plus some style code that's NFT itself. That's it from my side.
Awesome. Thank you a lot for the introduction. So can you share what was your motivation when you first come into the field? What was the main driver? What you didn't see in the world which you wanted to change with your project?
I mean, one of the, this was a hackathon, right? So you have to come up with some cool idea. You want to win a prize. If you're lucky, you do so. But besides that, it's Emily and me, we teamed up for another project, I think in March. It was a half year before Splice, which has been called Entropy, which allowed you to create some building blocks as NFT that allowed you to create new things out of those building block NFTs. And this whole idea of, okay, if you have some value or you have several values and you create some new value out of that is something that in the NFT space more or less is called a derivative, right? Many people just do this uniquely with, I don't know, Mutant Apes or Ape Chemistry Club or something. So they're just creating new collections on top of the artworks of other NFTs. But in our case, it was more like, okay, maybe we could put some logic in there, like art blocks, for example, is doing. So use code to create something new. So everything on Splice is totally deterministic. And this is something that really like about this whole idea. And I think this was our main driver. What do you say, Emily?
I think you captured it pretty well. I actually think that partly seeing that Artblocks was sort of the only platform around and we could do something that was creative, almost like Web3 collage was sort of interesting. And also just empower generative artists in various ways.
I love it. And if you were to go and name one thing which is currently missing in the space, which you would love to see, but it's not yet there, or maybe not from an NFT perspective, but generally from Web3, give it a shot. I think our participants would be happy to have an additional point of view on what is the next thing which someone would love to have in the Web3 space?
Other than Splice? That's a good question. There's so many possibilities, right? I would think there's something interesting in doing more bridging between the gap of virtual and physical. I haven't seen a lot being done in that, and I think that's a whole sort of bridge that is worth exploring in various ways.
I remember that question from, I think it was Joseph on the chat, which said, okay, could you rent out an NFT to do something with that? And this is exactly one of the things that are currently not in Splice, but this is definitely possible. You cannot really rent something in that sense because you have to escrow it somehow, right? So if you give it to somebody, it's his. So you have to take care of that. And I think you can do lots of things with digital signatures to make this kind of use case happen. And I think I talked to lots of people in the NFT space who thought about that. And if you can make some kind of use case where you can like rent out an NFT so somebody else can make use of its utility and then give it back with some yield, maybe this is some awesome use case. Also fractionalization, of course, is definitely a big thing, but there are lots of protocols out there who already approach that. But yeah, everything in that space, I think absolutely makes sense.
Thank you. And as a last question, what would be your recommendation to any hackathon participant if you would participate in the next hackathon you by yourself? What's the one thing which you would look for in the hackathon?
Well, I'll be more curious about what Stefan has to say because he's done so many of them. But for me, I think the most important part about getting involved in a hackathon is just being open-minded to various people, meeting new people, working with new people, and really experimenting. That's, I don't know how much you can do with that, but I guess it's sort of a state of mind.
Experimentation meets it pretty good. This is also what I would recommend everybody. So see maybe even the sponsors who are on this Faber hackathon, find their APIs, play with them, and just do dirty things with them because now you have the time because you decided to have the time. And what I also can recommend, if you start doing something, commit to it. Try to finalize that at all costs. It doesn't matter how bad it gets, right? The only thing that counts is that you create something that in the end at least works somehow. This is totally fine. And the other thing definitely is try to find nice people here. Try to team up with nice people that you might make a living with. How is it called in English anyway? So Emily and me, we grew quite good friends, and we met at hackathons. So it's definitely a good thing to meet new people here.
We've actually never met in person, so there you have it.
That's true.
Thank you. I think that's a great piece of advice for our participants. And I would again thank you, the Team Splice, for joining us today to share their experience with the hackathon. Thank you once again, guys, and we'll give the stage also to the KSTN team.
Hello.
The stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen now. Can everybody see my screen and the slides?
Yeah, all good.
Cool. So hello, everybody. My name is Oren Campbell, and today I'll be presenting to you guys QSTN, which is pronounced question, and it's a blockchain solution to data monetization. So I guess as an intro, my name is Oren Campbell. I graduated from NYU Stern back in 2017 with a degree in marketing. Between the years of 2017 to 2020, I worked in the entertainment industry. I went on Dr. Phil as a cyborg from the future. I got 20 million views. I built a large TikTok following, and I basically understood more about entertainment and consumption. As a cyborg from the future, I host a YouTube show where I interview different celebrities. I got a chance to talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson. We talked about social media, we talked about Facebook, we talked about Instagram, and that when you're using these social medias, it's free, but they're really going to be siphoning and taking your data. And so I thought, as a cyborg, how can I deliver on this promise to save people from the incoming apocalypse and save the world while also merging my love for blockchain and smart contracts? And so that was what led me to basically trying to create Question. This is a brief overview of the team. You have Anibal and Jose, who are twins. You have Eugene, who's our lead developer, and you have Ned Stasio, who's our art director. So the reason why we decided to create Question was because corporations are allowed to track, steal, and monetize your personal information and web presence. This information is then sold back to you in the form of third-party ads. And it's estimated that by the age of 21, you've generated over $10,000 worth of profit for third-party marketers. So not only is this a breach of trust, but this is a breach of data. And these breaches of data are allowed due to poor data protection laws. On average, there are about 500,000 data breaches daily, with each instance taking around 228 days to be discovered. So this puts us, the consumer, at risk. And so what we're asking is that consumers should not only be paid for their data, but they should have the tools to help author its usage and its rights. And so what's the solution? The solution that we offered was Question. And again, Question is a blockchain-enabled market research portal where users answer questions, they earn credit for their input, and then they can spend these rewards for NFTs within our digital NFT marketplace. I'm going to briefly stop the slides really quickly just to give you guys a demo of the platform. I wish my computer would work. 1 second. For some reason, my computer is not cooperating with me. There we go. I'm going to give you guys a quick demo into Question. Here we go. So right now, what I'm going to show you is the centralized version of Question. We're building on the Near protocol, and I'm going to explain to you guys in the next slide why we're building on Near, but this is currently the centralized way to log in. So you have a username and a password, you sign in, those are the instructions. And so each day we ask you 5 questions. As you answer these questions, your balance will increase. So in the top left, you can see the balance was 45. As you answer the 5 questions, by the time upon completion, you should have 50 points. So using these points, eventually we'll populate our NFT store and you can purchase NFTs from our store using these credits. Right here, we're showing you an NFT that we're going to mint and that users can then buy on the front end. Again, we're setting the NFT ID and the metadata is going to be hosted on IPFS. Going back to the slides. Some of the reasons why we're going to be building this project on Near is because of the smart contracts. They're cheap and cost effective. The DAOs are a great support system. The NFTs have low minting fees and you can engrave the metadata into the NEP token, something that Ethereum doesn't allow yet. You have the Rainbow Bridge, so we can port assets such as NFTs or tokens from Near to Ethereum. And then Near is one of the first proof of stake climate neutral blockchains in existence. And so of course we want to limit our environmental impact if we're going to be doing thousands of microtransactions a day. And so where we are right now, we've received an initial grant from a DAO on Near. We're in the final stages of pitching from an official grant from the Near organization. We placed second in the ENCODE Bridge contest, and we're accepted into the 2022 Filecoin Accelerator program. And so looking into the future, we're going to finish and launch on the Near mainnet. We're going to throw a metaverse launch party, and we're going to try and turn the token into an actual, or the credit into an actual token so that users can spend it on, decentralized exchanges and centralized exchanges outside of our system. And also, if anybody is interested, we're also going to be giving away some NFTs. So if you guys have a Near wallet, you guys can drop your Near wallet down in the comments and we'll airdrop you one of these NFTs. And that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you a lot for the presentation. I think it inspired many people to actually don't be shy and start developing something great on a hackathon.
Right.
Tell me more about your initial coming up with an idea. Why was it that make you go to the NFTs? Why you see the potential in Web3 and what is making you to wake up every day right now?
That's a good question. So as an artist, again, I told you that I'm a cyborg from the future. I went on television and I told people that I'm here to save the world. I realized that in the entertainment industry, you're just a product, and that the way that the current social media and internet structure is set up is Web 2. And so the people who create these structures benefit the most. I realized that I spent a lot of my time building up an online presence, but that I didn't actually own any of the things that I was putting out or creating, or even the tools of distribution. And so, back in 2018, I minted my first NFT. It sold for over 1 Ethereum back in 2020. And so that was when I really realized that, NFTs are going to stay, that there's, a lot of liquidity behind them, and that we can have different ways to also, tokenize value. When I got to the Near ecosystem, they kind of explained to me why NFTs on Near are superior, right? Because we have the proof of stake consensus model, their lack of environmental damage, and then your ability to engrave metadata into the tokens. What a lot of people don't realize is that NFTs on Ethereum, the metadata is platform specific. On Near, the metadata is engraved within the token, so it doesn't matter what marketplace that NFT is in, the metadata will still be there. And so that just led us on an entire journey. And so again, if users are going to be answering questions and receiving credits, we want to have different ways to show people the value of their data. And we think NFTs are a perfect way to do that. And as you guys can see, we have the question mark art. And so we're going to be dropping a generative collection. And so we want to give you guys that today.
Awesome. Can you maybe a little bit elaborate more on why it is important to own your data? Many people say right now, well, I don't care if Google steals my data or uses it. Where is the value in that? What's the ultimate form why you want to have a data on your own control?
I mean, like, data is a human right? Your data will say more about you than you'll actually say to a person in conversation. And so it's scary to think about the different companies and the different shareholders and people who know all this information about you, who are profiting from this information, and you have no clue where it is. You know, I could be in the States, I live in New York, and my information could be in China, it could be in Greece, and I wouldn't know. And people can abuse this information. They could even maybe collect your retina information and your vocal information and create some sort of AI. And then there's some copy of you out there without your permission because you signed the terms and conditions. And so we want to teach people that data is a human right and that you all generate value every day. We're all talking about universal basic incomes and different ways to support people, especially during a pandemic. And we believe Question will do that. Every day you answer 5 questions, you'll earn some credits, and then you can trade that for tokens or for different NFTs, and then teaching people the value of data that you generate often that's been stolen.
Thank you a lot for this elaboration. Also, one more question coming back to the hackathons topic. Why do you say, or what's the main opportunity of being a participant of a hackathon? I see that you also come from that journey, have an experience. What do you strive for when you are a member of a participant of a hackathon?
Well, what's beautiful about a hackathon is that, we graduated from NYU in 2017. And so it had been, we started our first hackathon and our first incubator last year. So from 2017 to 2020, we basically didn't have any schooling. And when we learned about hackathons and we learned about incubators, we learned that there are these communities where you can learn from professionals, people who do it every day, and you can also celebrate what you're learning with your classmates. And of course, there's the chances for cool prizes, but it's really just a sense of community. That's why we love Web3. That's why we love blockchain. So if you guys are here, feel free to reach out to us. My email address is here, and reach out to your classmates. A lot of the people who are in your class probably worked for cool startups, are probably working on cool startups, and those could be some of your best integrations or partnerships moving forward. So just make friends, I think, and reach out to your teachers, and don't be scared to ask as well.
So if you summarize that in one single piece of advice for any hackathon participant, what that would be?
Make friends. Very simply put, make friends.
Awesome. I think there are a lot of friends and opportunities coming for the Faber Hackathon this time. And I also love your perspective that there are a lot of opportunities, not just from being part of a hackathon, but rather expanding it further after the hackathon, building an accelerator, joining the VC, investing, finding investment for a project, and then realize it on a full scale. I would again thank you for joining us today and sharing your experience. That was lovely to hear. The perspective of yours, and I hope that many participants were inspired by your journey. Thank you a lot once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was a pleasure to talk with you.